Well, hello there. You are listening to Nellyville, the podcast. And I'm Black. Hello, Shalom. Welcome back to another fabulous episode of Nellyville, the podcast, the place to be. I'm your host, Chanel number 5, aka Nellyville herself. And, look, I know last week we skipped over the regular episode of Nellyville. The last time I talked to you guys, I was over in the Memphis, but I hope you were enjoying the Nellyville reviews, RuPaul's Drag Race episodes, and, look. You can watch it over on the YouTubes. You can listen audio only wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube or right here, Spotify, Pandora, wherever you get your podcasts. You can catch those as well. With all that being said, I hope everybody's doing all right. I know most of the spring break activities are over. Some of y'all are on spring break this week. I hope you got your Easter plans all set up and everything else. Make it do what it do. Make the best of your situation. You know what I'm saying? With all that being said, let's just jump right into the tea, meat, and potatoes of the episode. Now, the first thing I want to talk about, can we talk about people really be out here making up stories? People really be out here trying it. Okay? So here I am, I'm scrolling, and I could, look, sometimes you just be falling in right into the middle of a story. You don't know what's going on. I'm scrolling and I come across this guy talking about some girl who'd have made up some story online, and he had receipts on, yeah, she's lying. I don't know what she's talking about. Now, the details of the story are not important. This is more or less a PSA announcement that do not fall for the tomfoolery, for the shenanigans online. Fact check. It is 2026. It is really easy to fact check some stuff and debunk. Just don't take everything with a grain of salt and a shot of penicillin. Okay. So this guy's exposing this girl for lying. So then the girl sends a fake lawyer in his email talking about basically cease and desist. And we're going to press charges. And you need to delete the video. It looked very official. Now, if you saw this email for face value, most people would have looked at that and be like, oh, shoot, I'm not on that type of time. Let me delete my video. Sorry to this woman. I'm deleting it. I don't want no problems. I know she lying, but I don't want them problems. I ain't trying to be all up in the courts. I ain't paying no settlements. I ain't got time for all that. It's not that deep. Well, this man, luckily, is not boo-boo the fool. So he did a little bit of research. And what did he find? Not only did the girl lie about the original story, but also has sent a fake lawyer. Okay, now, I don't know if the lawyer had cahoots. I don't know if she just picked some random person. I don't know if, they plotted and schemed and planned together. But now, see, lady, you shouldn't have been out here lying in the first place, especially off of something that's really easy to fact check. But now you're really in hot water. Why? Because you can't be going out here threatening fake lawsuits, and whoever's pretending to be this lawyer, if he's in on it, baby, now everybody people looking at jail time. Now people are looking at fines. Now you because you want to sit up here and make up stories. But look, all I'm saying is, if you get an email from some lawyer, if you get a cease and desist, man, fact check it. Okay? People are getting real creative. People know how to make stuff look really official. Okay? People out here getting really creative trying to manipulate a narrative. Okay? Now, luckily, this man was not boo-boo the fool. He had enough sense to go do some research, and he took it a step further. He was like, you want to play these reindeer games with me? Baby, I have time. I'm about to report you and this lawyer. You want to get cute? Baby, I'm about to get drop dead gorgeous. Hello. Okay? Now, speaking of people suing people, have y'all heard about this couple? And it's suing over a house. Okay, so apparently, there was a couple who found this big old house in another state. Okay, so they never saw the house in person, but they saw pictures, and even in the pictures, you could tell this was a fixer-upper. It was going to need a lot of work. Now, the house, big old house. whole lot of land. Might have been an acre or two of land. Big old borderline mansion type house. Huge, right? But it was old, needed a lot of work. You could tell from the pictures, may or may not necessarily be move-in ready. Anyways, so they get this house. They sell their old one. They move across the state. They get there. And then they were like, oh my gosh, this house is not livable. What are we going to do? So now they want to sit up here and sue for thousands and thousands of dollars. And it's like, okay. Not to mention they bought the house for like dirt cheap. So that should let you know right there. You getting this big old crib on all this land. You paying pennies on the dollar for this house. And you thought that it was just gonna be moving like how was this not disclosed? So now they want to sit up here and sue. Now I don't know, either they are really, really smart or they're really, really dumb. Because there's no way. First of all, why are you buying a house that you never saw before in person? Now, look, I know in some situations, sometimes because of jobs, there are some reasons why one might just have to pick up and go, and you just have to hope that everything is everything when you get there. But for the most part, somebody's got to go look at the house in person to make sure everything is everything. Okay? Then, like I said, common sense will tell you, if you're getting something for that dirt cheap, you got to know that the rest of, you're going to make up the difference in the renovations, the updating, the remodification of it all. So I don't know if they planned it all along and thought, well, shoot, if it's dirt cheap, maybe we could turn around and sue and get it for absolutely free. Or I don't know if they thought that whoever was selling it was going to renovate it. Maybe they look at the pictures and then maybe they had a little too much wine, whiskey or something, and didn't realize the house was in such poor condition. I don't know. I really don't know what people be out here thinking. But why you thought that you could go out here and buy a house and it's like that, and then you want to turn around and sue? Baby, the ink has dried. You have no case. You were sent pictures. The pictures very clearly show. Baby, cut your losses. I don't know what to tell you. But people, we got to use our brains. And if you make a mistake, you don't get to sue. Sometimes you just got to take your L and move on. And then people be getting online telling their sob stories. And it's like, baby, I wouldn't have told you could not waterboard this information out of me. People be getting online just showing how just dumb, how ignorant, how gullible they are. And they really be out here thinking that we're about to be on their side. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Sorry to this couple, but I feel like something, the elevator ain't going to the top floor. That's my evaluation of that. I wish you well. I pray for you. You know, God be with you. Also, speaking of God, I hope everybody got the Easter plans together. Hope you got your little ham, your little Easter basket. Check the weather for the little egg hunts and all of that. He is risen. Now, back to the rest of the shady behavior that is going on. Now, have y'all heard about this? This is crazy. I don't even know where to begin. So apparently, Gucci Mane, the rapper, was somebody trying to kidnap him, robbed and kidnapped him. This was allegedly, well, it's been pretty much confirmed now. This was all orchestrated by this other rapper, Pooh Shiesty. Now, I ain't too familiar with Pooh Shiesty. I've heard the name. I'm a little familiar. But anyways, from what I've gathered, Pooh Shiesty just got out of jail for something. And he went out for 5 minutes. Now he's over here trying to kidnap people. What is going on? What is going on? What timeline are we in? What is this simulation? So luckily, other than I guess just some trauma and being shooken up, yeah, I guess Gucci Man is okay. But I'm just trying to figure out what was the end game. Why are grown people trying to kidnap other grown people and robbing people and taking Rolexes and jewelry and money, and we just thought that it was not going, like, what was the end game here? This sounds like, I mean, one would think this was an April Fool's joke, because what do you mean? And so look into that. It is very messy. It's very random. I mean, I'm glad for the most part everybody's okay, but what were you thinking? So you wanted to go back to jail, and it had something to do about somebody wanted to get out of a contract or something. I'm like, what? Child, I cannot make this up. I cannot make this up. Now, let's talk about something even crazier. Look, I would like this. This one is kind of shocking. Now, we need to talk about these brands and their kind of racist, ad campaigns and stuff. Now, this is definitely not the first, and it won't be the last. But I must say, I am a little bit shocked by this one. I really kind of am. So Nike, y'all know Nike, the shoe company, just put out an ad campaign, and it's very disturbing. And so Nike did not directly put this particular ad on their website. It was released through the campaign company that they hired. So that should already tell you right there that they know that they're pushing the limit. They're trying to dip their toe in the water to let's see how the people are going to react. If it's bad, then we'll shift blame to the campaign company and blah, blah, blah. So the ad is a depiction of, it is a black man. His back is to the camera, and there's lashings on his back. There's several lashings in the shape of Nike check marks. I'm not making this up. I was like, is this April Fool's? Which would be a crazy April Fool's joke. But I'm not understanding how this got through so many people. Even if there was not black or minority people on the higher ups who had to approve this, even the white, like, nobody was like, what are we trying to say here? Like, what is the message? Is the message that black people are a slave to the Nike brand? I mean, maybe they wouldn't be wrong, but that's a whole nother conversation. But I'm just trying to figure out, has Trump got y'all so empowered that this is what we're doing? And people like Nike, y'all are just so confident that people are just gonna y'all can do whatever you want. Y'all still, like, people are not gonna get rid of the Nikes. They're gonna keep buying. Nike is like the sponsor of like most of these sports teams, and and the sad thing is, even after this, they are still gonna continue to make money. But this is disturbing. It's disturbing. And somebody said, I think I'm more disappointed in the model. And I'm thinking it probably wasn't even a real model. It's probably just AI. I mean, what? I mean, because I'm trying to figure out, I'm pretty sure you probably could find some jigaboo out there that would take that Nike check and be like, well, shoot, my face ain't in the camera. So, I'll take the one. I'm not saying you couldn't find anybody, but it's probably not even a real model. It's probably just some AI generated person, and they put that on there. But I am like, why on God's green would you come up with that concept? Like, how did we get there? That's crazy. That don't make no kind of sense. And I mean, I know we live in the days where a lot of people like to pretend like racism doesn't exist. And, a lot of people, maybe they didn't grow up with it. And then if you have all white people making decisions, maybe they don't catch certain things and blah, blah, blah. Like, for instance, who came out? I think it was Elf that like a month, maybe last month or something, or a couple months ago, they came out with this the hair gel, which was really just they try to call it like a pomade or something, but it was really just a big old jar of edge control. And when they sent out the PR package and stuff, they didn't send it to people who would normally wear edge control. They sent it to a bunch of Beckys, not to be mean, but they did. And of course, they don't know about the edge control. They barely know about a pomade. And they putting it in their hair, ruining their hair because they slandering in like it's hair gel. And they're like, what's wrong with this? This is crazy. I don't understand. And so, while that is not directly racist, but it's like, don't take edge control, which is a black product, and try to rebrand it as this Caucasus thing, and you send in all these white people who they don't even have that, they don't even need all of that, they don't know how to use it, and you rebrand that it's an edge control. Call it an edge control and send it to black creators so they can whatever. Anyways, I'm just giving that an example. So Nike, I don't know if they have since released a statement, but yeah, it's getting to a point where we not gonna be able to eat or wear anything. But this is y'all getting a little too bold for me, man. That's some scary stuff. You have major ads like Nike's advertising black people with lashings on their back. Are y'all cool? What the like? What is that? What's happening, Mary? So, child. Anyways, they are the villain. They are the villain. We knew that, but Nike, y'all really the villain. Because I need to know. I need to see y'all. I mean, there's no explanation, but I'm interested to see how you try to explain yourself out of this. Now, we're going to lighten it up a little bit. But speaking of villains, can we talk about the show House of Villains? Can we talk about it? Can we talk about House of Villains? Oh my gosh. If you have not watched it, it comes on Peacock. This is a really great show. If you like shows like Traders or just like competition based shows, if you like The Challenger, if you like Survivor, if you like those types of shows, this is really good. If you like Celebrity Big Brother or regular Big Brother, if you like stuff like that, I think you're probably gonna like House of Villains. Now, I'm definitely, I was a Drag Race girl, like, and really honestly, a lot of shows that I just named, I don't watch all, but I do like a competition based show, mostly like the cooking ones. But back in the day, I used to watch Real World versus Road Rules, and Double Dare. Like, I liked it back in the day. And then I've recently started watching Survivor and stuff like that. I like a good competition show. I've been watching Traders. But honestly, I think I like House of Villains better than Traders. And I didn't think I would. Because I'm like, man, I ain't trying to see a bunch of people be all conniving and crazy and da. But it's actually really good. It's very funny. You have people like New York on there. Y'all know New York, Tiffany Pollard. Gosh, I love New York's been on all three seasons of House of Villains. You have different contestants from Survivor. You have different housewives. You have people from The Challenger, Vanderpump Rules, Selling Sunset. All these different reality shows. You have like the quote unquote villains from those, the Drag Race girls and stuff or whatever. There's been two Drag Race girls so far. Candy Muse was on season 2, and then this season you had Plain Jane. It's such a fun show, and I'm sorry to spoil it. If you're gonna watch it. But I will say Candy did really, really great last season. Now this season when we had Plain Jane, Plain didn't make it as far. I'm sorry, spoiler alert. I'm so sorry, but I felt bad for Plain. And if I could just pivot for a second and just kind of talk about Plain Jane for a second. when Plain Jane was on Drag Race, I liked Plain, but I was like, she was a villain. But great drag queen, great drag. But I kind of started liking her more post season, and I'm like, well, I really appreciate the drag, and I like kind of, you could tell deep down, this is a genuinely nice person, but like Jane plays this character, and you can appreciate it when you know it's a character. I don't think Jane is like really a mean girl like that. But she leans into the chaos, and I can appreciate a little bit of chaos. But I have noticed that in recent months, Jane seems a little sad. And I think Jane just kind of really needs a win. And I feel like it kind of all started, not all started, but the biggest thing was, so Plain Jane was on tour with the Roxy Andrews and some other queens. And Roxy was in the middle of doing a number. It was really like a kind of a more serious number. I can't remember what song it was. And at like the climax of the song, Jane comes out in like half drag with like a robe and takes something off of stage in the middle of this really emotional part of Roxy Andrews' number. And well, Roxy did not like that. And Roxy is also known to be a villain too. And we know Roxy can have a short temper and all these things. And so Roxy was really upset and gave Jane the lashing of a lifetime. And we heard about it. I don't even think there's video footage of it, but it word spread. But you could see that Roxy was visibly upset when that happened, when Jane came out and did that little bit in the middle of her number. But then we later found out that Roxy, like Jane was like, I don't think I've ever heard anybody yell at me like that before. And she was and it was something where, how somebody really yell at you because your whole spirit is broken. Yeah, Jane's spirit was broken, not just from them, but just for a while after that. And I think that was just the final straw. And Jane realized, like, everybody doesn't play like that. Everything's not funny. Everybody, like, there had been some other people like, man, I don't want to deal with you because you play too much, you do too much. It's not funny. And so when she came around and played around with the wrong one, now Plain and Roxy, they're cool now. But yeah, man, everybody doesn't play like time and place. But don't go out in the middle of someone's number. And I get it. You think it's going to be funny. It's going to be a bit. You try to create a one. But sometimes when you try to create a viral moment, that's when it just all goes left. It has to be organic. Like, don't do it. Don't do it, Mary. So then fast forward to Plain's on House of Villains. Started out well. I thought Plain might make it far. She didn't. And I think that really, really hurt her feelings because I think Plain's really in the middle of trying to build her platform past the drag race sphere. And I think when she got voted off, I think it was like almost a unanimous voting, or it was unanimous. So, it hurts your feelings when you're on those shows and you get voted off and stuff. And I don't know. And then Jane's picked up a little bit of weight. Jane looked good, don't get me wrong. But I've seen a lot of people like making fun of her and stuff. And I could tell that that's hurting her feelings. And I'm just like, dang, I just feel sorry for Jane. But hopefully it's a wake-up call to maybe just be yourself a little more. Don't feel like you have to play this mean girl role, because not everyone can be a Violet Chachki. Now, Violet Chachki is another queen, and like her whole brand is known for like being the mean girl and stuff, but that's who she really is. She really is nasty, rotted, and she's not putting on, and she's mastered the art of being this knowing how to read, but time and place, she's mastered that. Bianca Del Rio is known for being nasty, gutted, rotted, constantly like, but that's who they really are. And they, but at the same time, a lot of people don't like Bianca. A lot of people don't like Violet. A lot of people don't like Bob the Drag Queen. Like, but they're being who they are. So when people don't like them or they get rubbed the wrong way, they don't really give a damn. Because they're being who they are. Whereas plain, I think that you try to create chaos and be mean as a coping mechanism. And so when you get your head bit off, you don't recover as well. But I don't know. Poor Jane. But anyways, all that to say, maybe Jane, maybe you can come back, because they be recycling people. I mean, New York's been on her 3 times. They might bring you back. Or you can go do another show. You might get on the Traders or something. Anyways, House of Villains, I highly recommend. It comes on Peacock, new episodes every Thursday. Now, last thing I want to talk about, people taking care of themselves. Speaking of people taking care of themselves and really, being who you really are. Okay, let's talk about Megan Thee Stallion. And this is the last thing, and I'm going to let y'all go. So, as you probably heard or read or saw, Megan took over the Bob the Drag Queen's role as Zitler in the Moulin Rouge Broadway musical. Okay, she's supposed to be doing 8 weeks, just like Bob and Boy George and a few other people who have done this role. She is the first woman to take on this role. It's usually a male role, so making a lot of history here. And so she did about a week's worth of shows, and then earlier, this past Tuesday, she started the show, did a few scenes, but fell ill, had to get rushed to the hospital. Cut to, we found out it was exhaustion, dehydration, and a couple other things. She took a day off and then was right back at it on Thursday. Now, while I'm glad that the woman is okay, I don't think, for what they were saying was wrong with her and the brutality of a Broadway schedule, not to mention whatever else she has going on, I just don't think a day is enough. And then we saw some paparazzi shots of her, going, like the day after the stuff, a couple days after, and I guess she was going to the theater or something or whatever. And even though she was covering most of her face, you could see she is very, very tired. And I don't know how much y'all pay attention to Megan or in her, world, but Shawty's been dipping and doing it for, she's been on since she came onto the scene. But for the last year and a half, she's been really doing a lot. And when they first announced that she was going to be the one taking over that role, I was like, how? When is she rehearsing? You rehearse like 5 or 6 days out of the week. And this is rehearsal. This is before the training. All the training and stuff that you have to do. Broadway, you do 8 shows a week. Like your whole life has to be dedicated to that. And it is I don't care how good a shape you think you're in. That Broadway life is not. Mm-hmm. It is not for everybody. And then when you got all this other stuff going on, I'm just like, man, I was already like, how, girl, how? But congratulations. And then here we are. She done fell out. Now another thing is her stylist is the one that broke the news. So the people in the audience didn't know really what was going on. So they started the show. And then, a few scenes, the show was on for maybe 35, 40 minutes. And then they stopped it. And then the announcer comes over the thing and says, everyone, please remain in your seats, remain seated, remain in the auditorium. And so people kind of like, what's going on? Is this part of the show? Whatever. And so this one, I can't think of the lady's name, but one of the hosts of the Breakfast Club, she happened to be in the audience at night, and she said she went over and asked the security, like, what's going on? Are we safe? And the puzzling thing to me, the security guard was like, well, for now, yes, everything's okay. What do you mean for now? That still puzzles me, because if this was something about just one person in the show, that person being Meg, why would you tell somebody, yeah, y'all are safe for now? Unless the security guard had no idea what was going on. That is a possibility. Maybe they didn't even know yet. But still, I'm not going to, as a security guard in an auditorium full of people, I'm not going to say for now and to invoke even more panic in people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't live in the time where you can let people, just like, don't do that to people. But whatever. So they sat there for a little bit, and then the announcer comes back on and says, well, unfortunately, Megan Thee Stallion is being rushed to the hospital. And maybe they didn't even say that. They just said that she wasn't going to be able to finish the show. But the understudy was there, and they said who that was. And apparently that man is really, really great. I'm sorry, I don't know that man's name right now. But I'm glad, the Broadway, the show must go on. And most of the people stayed. Some people left, and I'm pretty sure maybe they were able to get refunds and stuff. But, it's very disappointing, especially if you travel far and wide to come specifically to see Megan, and she didn't get to finish the show and stuff. And I'm sure people were like, well, it happens. I'm glad she's okay. But anyways, so nobody officially from Megan's team or from Broadway or anything had made a statement about exactly what was going on with her. So nobody really knew that Megan even left the thing unless you were in the auditorium that night. So cut to Megan's hairstylist or her hairstylist, whoever that man is. Kellon, whatever that little boy's name is. I don't like him, if you can't tell in my voice. He's the one that initially made the tweet saying, please pray for Megan. We're all at the hospital right now. Or whatever he said. Please send prayers. Why would you say that? Nigga, shut up. I understand that you might be scared. You worry your friend and blah, blah, blah. But you've been friends with her long enough to know. You've been in that world long enough. You know how this works. You don't say nothing like that when you don't have details. You know that people have really strong parasocial relationships with celebrities. Why would you get on and tell the masses that this girl's in the hospital, and then we did not get an update until, okay, he tweeted out at 6 something my time, Central Time, on Tuesday. We didn't get an update until 9, 10 o'clock the next day. So you let people all night not know what the hell was going on. Then you open up the floor for all these little Nicki Minaj fans and all these fake fans and people just sit up here and make rumors and speculate and make stories, starting pregnancy rumors, talking about the girl got a drinking problem, talking about the girl doing cocaine and all this other kind of, why would you say that? And her team ain't even said nothing. Let her be the one to decide what she wants, what press release she wants to say. And why would you, what are you doing? Because it was giving, you just wanted attention. And then you didn't delete it, which I guess if you put it out there, I guess you can't delete it. But if I'm Megan's team, he's getting an earful. If I'm Megan, you're getting an earful. Because why would you say that? But he just looks sneaky to me. I don't like him. Megan, apparently, you a sweet girl. You a very talented woman. You really, really are. But you are an awful judge of character. And you need to get that boy from up around you. And really, you need another team. Because I don't know. Look, I know with Broadway, you got contracts and stuff. And like I said, the show must go on. But I'm trying to figure out who the hell approved that she only got to rest one day. Like, damn. At least go through the weekend. You had to get rushed to the hospital on Tuesday and you back at it on Thursday. I'm so sorry, Mary. That's not adding up to me. Ain't nobody in her. I mean, you can't look. She's grown. She can do what she want to do. Maybe her team did try to say, Megan, look, we know you don't want to quit on Broadway, but your health, man, your health. You can't push yourself like that. And if you want to fulfill your obligation to Broadway, then maybe have them add on a couple extra days, so you can fulfill your 2 8 weeks. It just wouldn't be consecutively. Did I say your 2 8 weeks? You can fulfill your 2 months or your 8 weeks. Y'all know what I'm saying. I don't know. But then there was this other theory where people were saying, well, apparently Tory Lanez was coming out with music or something. And somebody was like, why does it seem like every time Tory Lanez is doing something, all of a sudden Megan's got some stuff going on? So people were trying to allude to that Megan was, I guess, pretending to kind of take the attention off of whatever he's got going on over there. I don't believe that that's true. But see, when you have hairstylists making statements and then there's no updates, the internet has too much time on their hands to sit up here and to spin around these narratives. Now, if I'm playing devil's advocate, now look, is there a world where there's some conspiracy theory allegedly where it was all pre-planned and she did her and her team or whoever conspired to take the attention off of his project out of spite because of, what happened with them? Maybe. I'm not going to completely rule it out, especially considering the fact you got diagnosed with all of that. And then you gonna jump right back in it in a day, and everybody's okay with that? Yeah, I can see how people might say, yeah, it seems kind of fake. But I don't know. I don't want to say Megan is that girl. But also, look, we know this industry is crazy. Maybe she didn't want to, but maybe they told her you're gonna pretend to be sick so we can ruin this Tory Lanez rollout. I don't know. I don't know. It's all very strange. I hope the woman get her rest. She need to get these slime balls from around her. But mark my words, it's gonna come out that that so-called best friend stylist of hers ain't about shit. We're gonna hear a story about him. We're gonna hear it because I can see it. I just know it. I just feel it. You can look at him. He's sneaky. He's something is not right. And we already know, we've proved many a times that, I'm sorry, Megan, I love you so much, girl, but you are an awful judge of character. Now, your little boyfriend, your little basketball player boyfriend, now he seemed like he's legit and, I like y'all together and stuff and hey, woo woo. But yeah, man. Y'all stay tuned on that one. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and let y'all go. Let me know what you think about all that drama. And I will catch you in the next episode. Whoa. Okay, ladies so much. Bye.